Yo, shout out to Rick. To be sure, this is your boy Sammy with our session. Follow him. You don't know. Boom. Boom.
It's the Retro Philosophy Show. Go on and tell everybody you know. Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your girl, Lottie Dottie. And I'm in the building hanging out with Retro. Keep it locked. And don't you dare touch that dial.
Going on over here? Talk to me. What we got going on?
We got the king of the Andre, Highway Dre.
Highway Dre
has completed not only North Carolina,
Yes, sir.
but he went on and did South Carolina. Just because he was in the vicinity.
That's right.
It got so nice to him, he wanted to get where it was a little bit warmer, so he went on down to get him a few oranges. And a slice of key lime pie down in Florida.
I did it.
But he also stopped by to get some peach cobbler while he was in the area. So he went to Georgia and did the Four Corners there as well.
Oh my word.
So, Highway Dre, we love you, bro. Appreciate you.
Hey, look. Let me tell you why I do this.
Okay.
Why do you wait? I got a question. Why do you do this?
Why do you tell him why you do it?
Because I can.
Yo, what up? This is Marvin Gibson, aka Big Gip, and you are now tuned in to the Retro Philosophy Show.
Say, man, you know what it is, man. Special guest in the building. Much love and respect to my man Retro stopping through, y'all. Y'all know what to do.
Big Cell. You still keeping it 100.
Yo, what's up, everybody, including Lottie Dottie? You already know what it is. It's your boy Retro with you on today. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and I will be glad in it. We got an interesting show for you on this morning as well as tonight. So make sure you guys put it on your calendar to join us on tonight. We got special guests tonight, the one and only Big Cell, and we may have a couple other guests sliding through. We're going to be talking about all kinds of things from this morning till tonight. So make sure you keep it locked right here to the Retro Philosophy Show. We got some Retro Philosophy Show news that we're going to dig into, and on a little bit earlier than normal, but still right around time-ish. But anyway, it's Monday, and we're going to hop right on into this thing, man. I hope everyone is doing well. As I always say, man, you know, we ain't going to be sassy. We're going to keep it classy. Yeah, we're going to keep it classy. But however, there are some things, in my humble opinion, and go ahead and hit the share button. This is going to be share worthy. In my humble opinion, there are some things that must be addressed, that must be spoken on and talked about, especially in some cases. So let me play this quick clip, and then we'll hop right into it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, saints and ain'ts, everybody, including Lottie Dottie, keep it locked right here on the Retro Philosophy Show.
I have never, in the 35 years I've been associated with this club, have I ever spoken negatively about this club or anyone in it. So I have heard that the club is actually going to put out a real statement in a couple of days, and that statement will come from the national president, ride or die. Not a so-called thing full of crap and lies. And I'm going to hope that this club takes the high road and clears my name of the things that I didn't do. I'm ready for anything a mofo says that I did do, that's the truth. But
Black Dragon, this what I got. This
no,
what I got to
I'm
ask.
not finished. I'm not finished.
You're not.
Don't
Okay,
cut me
let's
off.
hear it. Let's hear it.
All
Let's
right.
hear it.
So
Kind of rude if you ask me, but nevertheless.
I'm not ready to talk about this right now. I'm not ready to talk about it. When I am ready to talk about it, I will. I will talk about it when I'm ready. Not ready to talk about it. I want to wait around and see what their comment will be.
I done said all I got to say.
No, I know.
A lot of people like to hold back, but I don't hold back nothing. I take just like it is.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, saints and ain'ts, everybody, including Lottie Dottie, we're going to hop right on into this thing. Mr. Johnny Bunch, John E. Bunch, a.k.a. Black Dragon, has been a social media sensation for a number of years. His likes and views have grown into the thousands, and he is extremely proud of the amount of followers that he has. And hey, you know, rightfully so. Rightfully so. The point that I'm making is many of us, myself included, have looked to many of his videos for motorcycle protocol and things of that nature. He has put out countless videos as well as books. Let's see what he's wrote the book, Prospect Bible, Prospects Bible, President's Bible, all these books about motorcycle protocol and what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to do this, that, and the other. And I read a post just recently on a very popular Facebook group, and an individual was posting or sharing, articulating his disgust for this particular situation. And he went on to say how he's, you know, read many of his books and looked to him as that mentor, if you will. And then I saw another gentleman chime in and said, which I did agree with. He says, you know, just because, and I'm paraphrasing it, so you know, don't come for me, guys. You know, but anyway, he says to him in so many words, as I paraphrase, just because the individual went left doesn't mean the material is necessarily bad. And I can agree with that, because there is an individual who can search out the many different ways to go from North Carolina to New York, and they can share with you several routes. Let me get my comments up here. And they can share with you several routes to get to New York, and all of those routes could be spot on. They could be great routes. However, the individual who did the research may have never made the journey. And so we have to be careful, because there are some people who have a platform, who talk about things that they haven't done. They talk about things that they don't do. In other words, they tell you, like your parents used to say back in the day, do as I say, not as I do, kind of a thing. And tomato, neither here nor there. But I do believe that he has put out some material that, if followed, could could prove to be beneficial. Let's make some noise, ladies and gentlemen, for the one and only Highway Joy is in the building. What's going on, bro? Hope all is well with you and yours. And so many of us, if not all of us who are watching this morning, have at some point or another watched this man's content. Now, I remember, now for me, the brother who laid the blueprint for me for MC protocol, and don't get it twisted, I am not in, nor have I ever been in, an MC, a motorcycle club, okay? For those of you who know, and if you don't know, oh, if you don't know, now you know, I ride with a motorcycle ministry, apples and oranges. However, even in a motorcycle ministry, the need to know, good morning, Bolo, how you doing, sir? The need to know and be aware of and be versed in MC protocol is extremely important, okay? And so I look to several different people at several different times for insight and knowledge on MC protocol. The last thing you want to do is be out on twos and you come across a group, or you're in at a particular event, and you don't know how to carry yourself correctly, okay? And so the gentleman who did it for me, first and foremost, was Big Sal. Let's make some noise for the one and only Big Sal.
Say, man, you know what it is, man. Special guest in the building. Much love and respect to my man Retro stopping through, y'all. Y'all know what to do.
Big Cell. You still keeping it 100.
And so I did not know Big Cell from a can of paint, but I came across his content, and I can remember one of the first videos I came across. He was literally sitting at a kitchen table having a discussion with a gentleman. Y'all, please forgive me for that. And the content that they were discussing was real. His passion, his zeal, all of that stuff. It came across in the video. I went back to another video and then began to watch several other videos as well. We got Nick Holly in the building. What's going on, Nick? How you doing, sir? Hope all is well with you and the family. And so that's how I came across Big Cell on the interweb. And but here's the thing about Big Cell. Now, a lot of y'all feel a lot of different ways about Big Cell, and I'm not here to argue one way or another. I rock with the dude, man. It is what it is, and he'll be on the show tonight at 8 p.m. And so he can defend himself however he pleases. But every time I went back to Big Cell's videos, what I saw was consistency. Okay. Not only did I see consistency, I saw him literally implementing most of the stuff, if not all of the stuff that he talked about on his show. He was not a guy talking about stuff behind a desk only. He was a guy who would talk about it while behind the desk and also while on ground, exemplifying what he talked about. And again, some may say this and some may say that, but you can't knock a man for being consistent. You can't knock a man for being real. You can't knock a man for being willing to be transparent. Okay, right, wrong, or indifferent. And so that's what constantly drew me back to Big Cell's content. Okay. I then noticed Big Cell and Black Dragon, rightfully so, being in the same state and all, they begin to collaborate on some some content, and then I'll fast forward because this is, I'm just going to fast forward it. Big Cell, and maybe we'll talk about this tonight, depending on how the show goes. Talk the talk and walk the walk. That part right there. We got to talk the talk. If we're going to talk the talk, then we also must walk the walk, okay? Now, the issue that I have with Black Dragon is he built his platform on biker news, okay? And that biker news also talked a whole lot about protocol. It talked a whole lot about other bikers and other biker clubs going through woes and troubles. And he did a lot of dry snitching, in my opinion, but we'll keep it moving. And so while he has this type of platform, now he finds himself in the hot seat, but yet still he refuses to talk about it. And I think that he owes the MC, I think he owes the motorcycle community some answers. I mean, you put out books and content and videos and now you're in a predicament that, let me put it this way, and I said this on one of their lives, because he and Lavish was live, and I commented, and I said, Lavish, you're going easy on him, because if the shoe was on the other foot, his answer wouldn't suffice, because the answer that Black Dragon gave was just a generic answer, and he just really just brushed over the question and didn't answer it. And so that's one of the reasons why I believe he owes the motorcycle community some answers. I don't know how you feel about it, but that's the way I feel about it. Okay, and I believe that we are all human. Okay, let's put a little morning inspiration in this thing. None of us are exempt of missing the mark from the pulpit to the door, as we would say in the church. Okay. I'm not here as though I'm perfect. I'm not here as though I've never messed up. I messed up I boogered up some stuff like nobody's business, and I'm still breathing. So there's a good chance that I may booger up some more stuff in life. I'm going to try to minimize as much boogers as possible, but there's a good chance that I may booger something up. Now here's the deal. One way to ensure that we don't booger stuff up too much is to make sure we have people around us that will hold us accountable. Okay, that will hold us accountable. Now, Lavish asks this man a question and he refuses to answer it. And that's just that's just, man, he was in a safe place. He was on his platform with his co-host. It's not like he was trying to, throw him underneath the bus. I think he was doing him a favor, in my opinion, So, we see, oh boy, I better not go too deep with this stuff, man. So we all are going to make mistakes. And if and when we do, sometimes the best thing to do is to just confront it, to address it. And again, addressing something doesn't necessarily mean you have to go into super detail. Let's look at this, folks.
I have never, in the 35 years I've been associated with this club.
So 35 years, he said he's been associated with Black Sabbath. Okay. Now, there is a letter that has been issued stating that he is no longer associated with the club. He's no longer to use their name and this, that, and the other. And with his own testimony, and it, oh gosh, he said it took him 10 years to get his colors. And if that's normal in the MC culture, please educate me, folks. I'm inquiring minds want to know. I'm asking for myself. Who prospects for 10 years? And if you prospect for 10 years, what's the reasoning behind that? Now, to his defense, he said 5 of those 10 years was him just hanging around before he got the opportunity to prospect. So I don't know. That, in my opinion, that sounds red flaggish, and I could be absolutely wrong. But for those of you who know more than me, is that normal? What is the normal prospecting time? Or maybe I should say, is there anyone else who prospected for 10 years? But anyway, so he says he's got 35 years in the game, but there's a letter that's floating around the interweb that says otherwise.
Have I ever spoken negatively about this club or anyone in it? So I have heard that the club is actually going to put out a real statement.
So not only is there a real statement that has been put out, but the national president has also put a video out articulating what's in the letter. And he was very to the point about it and about how he felt about it and Black Dragon.
In a couple of days. And that statement will come from the national president, ride or die. Not a so-called thing full of crap and lies. And I'm going to hope that this club takes the high road and clears my name of the things that I didn't do.
And maybe it's my, I don't know, but he says clears my name of the things that I didn't do. But apparently there are some things that you did do. And
ready
however,
for anything a mofo says that I did do, that's the truth. But
Black Dragon, this what I got. This
no,
what
I'm not finished. I'm not finished.
You're not.
Don't
Okay,
cut me
let's
off.
hear it. Let's hear it.
All
Let's
right.
hear it.
So I'm not ready to talk about this right now. I'm not ready to talk about it. When I am ready to talk about it.
Now, if you've ever checked out any of his content, he is, when it comes to breaking news, he always wants the exclusive, and now here he is in the hot seat, but he's not ready to talk about it. I don't know, Black Dragon, man. I think this is a perfect time to talk about it. You don't have to necessarily go into super details, but to allude the conversation is not acceptable.
I will talk about it when I'm ready. Not ready to talk about it. I want to wait around and see what their comment will be, their official comment. And I think that's what I want to do. There'll be plenty of time to talk about this and get into the weeds of it. But today is not the day for me.
It's not the day. You don't want to talk about it. Now, I only mention that.
Come on.
Because this is a news reporting channel.
Correct.
And I know a lot of your viewers, you know, you're gonna have some that like you. You're gonna have some that don't like you. And people, they just want to know. But if you're not ready to open up and talk about it, hey, I mean, I can't force you.
I spend so
talk
much
about it.
time talking.
Now he's getting ready to say a mouthful here, and here in just a second. I want to commend Mr. Lavish T. Williams for doing what he does, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But listen to what Black Dragon has to say right here.
About other motorcycle clubs and the dirt of the motorcycle clubs. This
Correct.
is absolutely.
Hey, I mean, I can't force you.
I spend so much time talking about other motorcycle clubs and the dirt of the motorcycle clubs. This
Correct.
is absolutely turnabout.
So he says that he spends a lot of time talking about other motorcycle clubs and the dirt of other motorcycle clubs. So, and then he goes on to say that this is absolute karma.
Being fair play. This is absolute karma. This is absolute all those things. And and so you get to look at your own stuff in your face. Like, ouch. I talk about other people's motorcycle clubs and
now, you know, as the old folks will say, the chickens have come home to roost. And I am in no shape, form, or fashion, you know, taking or making light of someone's plight or issue, because, as I said, you know, we're all human. But I do believe that when you are the person who, let me just say it like this. I think that we've got to keep each other honest. We've got to keep each other, you know, operating on a level of integrity as best we can. There was a gentleman by the name, and I didn't even know about this guy. I had never heard of this content creator. And as I said earlier, I used to watch Black Dragon's videos. He was talking about protocol. He was talking about, you know, traveling on motorcycles and different things of that nature. And he was, he didn't have the content that Big Cell had, but he had more videos. He was a little bit more consistent, if you will. So, you know, he had a schedule. So you could always tune into him at a certain time, you know. And so on one of his videos, he begins to talk about culture vultures. Anybody ever heard of that terminology? I'm sure you guys have. It's not just on the motorcycle set, guys. It's in the church. It's everywhere. A culture vulture is someone who swoops in and they begin to maximize and benefit from the culture and never give anything back to it. But don't forget the caveat, and that is that they are not true to the culture that they are benefiting from. They're doing it for the likes and views, for the money, for the benefits, so on and so forth. Now, let me pause. And let me say this, and let me be extremely clear. There's a scripture in the Bible, and as I paraphrase, it says that you are not to muzzle the ox that treadeth the field. In other words, if this ox is working in this field, if he wants to stop and eat some okra every now and then, let that ox eat some okra. He should be able to benefit from the field that he's serving. Okay. So if we are in this culture and we're out here on these twos, it costs money to go from state to state. It costs money to get that stator replaced. Come on, ask me how I know, because I'm on my second one in less than 2 years. And so it costs money to get cross state lines. Okay. And so if you can offer a service or offer, you know, something to the community that can benefit them, and you also benefit from it financially, I don't see anything wrong with that. Now, if you're out there and you're offering something that's bootleg and that's falling apart and it's not, you know, then that's a whole nother story. That's an issue right there. Okay. But I would rather support my fellow biker than someone else. Okay. Now, if Bolo sells tires, okay, guess what? I'm gonna go to Bolo and buy my tires because I see him on ground. I run across him at certain events and things of that nature. He has a passion for this motorcycle thing, so I'm going to intentionally support and spend my money with Bolo. Okay, and so Bolo is not a culture vulture. He's a part of the culture, and he's also benefiting from the culture that he's giving to. Okay, so but Black Dragon and not just this particular show, but he went on a rant for days, for weeks. I mean, he was on it, and it was a gentleman. And you guys, I want you guys to go and check out his content. The guy's name is Sos the Ghost, and I'm sure many of you guys probably have already heard about him. But at this particular time, and this is probably a couple years ago, I hadn't even heard or known who Sos the Ghost was. Come to find out, we're from the same area, and so I began to check out some of his content because Black Dragon was just calling him a culture vulture, and he was going in on the dude, man. It got pretty ugly. It was like content creator beef going on for a minute there. And so Black Dragon then he got some other people involved, and they too begin to see it from the perspective that Black Dragon was articulating. One gentleman by the name of Danny DLow. And the only reason why I mentioned Danny DLow, there were others on the platform, but Danny DLow was going in on Sosa Ghosts and stuff like that. But then Danny DLow got a chance to have a conversation with Sosa Ghosts and realized that some stuff just wasn't really adding up. Point number one. As a grown man, be extremely careful how you allow another man, woman, boy, child, girl, dog, goat, lizard, whatever, to cause you not to like someone because they got a beef with them. I mean, that's a no-no. And so we've got your boy, let's see here. Where's we at here? Danny DLow did a video where he was explaining what I just talked about. That's the only reason why I mentioned his name and brung that up. And he apologized to Sosa Ghost, and he admitted that he had been sucked into this vortex between the beef between, and I don't even think we could legitimately call it a beef, but it was certainly between Black Dragon and Sosa Ghost. Now, Sosa Ghost, his content in terms of production of his content, top notch. Good morning goes out to Richard Gardner in the building on today. Let's make some noise for Richard Gardner. And so I mean his production is top notch. I give it to him, man. And so anyway, topic today, Black Dragon or Colorless Lizard. And I know that may sound kind of harsh, and I know when he gets wind of this, he's gonna be like, who is this dude? And probably, might even come for me or whatever. I mean, no disrespect, Mr. Bunch. I absolutely mean no disrespect, but you as a OG and in this content creator game thing, especially as it relates to motorcycle protocol, we just, we feel a little let down, and we think that I don't think that this is something that you can just skate around. I think I think you owe us some answers, because if the shoe was on the other foot, I think you would say the same thing. Okay, I think it is perfectly fine for us to hold each other accountable, guys. I do, and guess what? You reap what you sow. Okay, so somebody will hold me accountable before the day is over. Somebody very well may call me and say, yo, Retro, you should have done that video, and I'll hear their point of view, and then I'll extract the wisdom and get the lesson out of it, and then I'll readjust and go forward from there. I have to come back and finish watching this. This is good. Okay, Kevin, we appreciate that, man. Make sure you come back and hit the replay, and then also let us know what you feel and what you think about the way we address this issue. I'm only saying what a lot of other people are asking. Okay. I mean, this is floating around the interweb. The motorcycle community is a small community. And when you look at our different social medias, you see that all of us have a large number of mutual friends. Okay. We may not have all the same friends, but we have a very large number of mutual friends. Okay. The motorcycle set is very small. It's big, but it's small at the same time. Okay. And so what's the takeaway, Retro? Good morning, Mr. GQ. Mr. GQ is in the building. What's going on, bro? The takeaway is, number one, none of us are exempt. Okay, we can't do what we want, when we want, how we want, and not expect to be held accountable. It just doesn't work that way. To whom much is given, much is required. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. Okay, and so if you're going, let me tell you this: Apostle Leo Lewis, who is my bishop, told me many years ago. He said, "Don't allow anyone to put a title on you that you're not anointed for." Okay, Lavish, what's going on, bro? What's going on, man? We ain't talking about you too bad, man. We did mention you a few times, but we ain't talking about you too bad, man. What's happening? We all connect in some way through many different people. Real talk right there, bro. Real talk right there. We'll get back to that, Lavish, in just a second. Personally, I'm afraid to join a club. But my twin is a sergeant at arms and let roll MC, but I don't think I want to be a part because of the drama. And that is a fair assumption, Kevin. Depending on who you are and think and what you require and what you desire, even will determine whether or not one should join a club. And I'm not here to say one should or one shouldn't. What I will say is you got to find the one that's a good fit for you. You got to find the one that you can rock with, that you can roll with, and because every organization is gonna have drama. I don't care what church too. I'm in a motorcycle ministry. We ain't drama free. There's drama amongst motorcycle ministries too. But I just think that we, especially, and when I say we, us content creators and those of us who are influencers, we have a voice, and we have a voice for a reason. And if we're not going to use our voice, then we just need to, quite frankly, shut up. I mean, like, period. You can't talk about the good and then not talk about the bad. I mean, it's all a part of life, and there's something to be learned out of everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So we do not have the luxury. I will not get up here and talk about God is good all the time. And yes, he's good, and he's an on-time God. Yes, he is. He is that. But I also have to talk about the situations and the circumstances when the devil is showing his head. I'm just, that's just my take on it. You know what I mean? Let's see. He's, Highway Dre says, I follow and have great respect for him. But he would hold his feet to the fire. Okay. I follow and have great respect for him. But he would hold your feet to the fire. Yeah. I think that if I'm reading your comment correctly, Highway Dre, if the shoe was on the other foot, and it was Highway Dre that was in such question of this letter, Black Dragon would hold his feet to the fire, And again, this is not a bashing video. This is not what that is. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, we've got to hold each other accountable. We got to at least do it in such a way to where, see, some things I just can't do, because if Highway Dre gets wind of it, if Joseph Chisholm gets wind of it, he gonna hold me accountable. And I don't want that. So therefore, I'm gonna govern myself accordingly. And you can call it what you want. You know what I'm saying? But when people are looking at you, you do things differently. I'm just saying. Retro in the house, glad to see you. Well, brother. Likewise, man. We got to get together. Joseph, I am planning a trip to your hometown to check out my homeboy Lavish and his biker bash that he is having. And so you and I need to talk and see if you're going to be available those days, that weekend. If so, man, we could get together and you could, ride with me, or I could ride with you, being that it's your hometown and all. And you can show me to a couple of good burger joints while I'm in the Detroit area. But I'll send you the flyer. Lavish, if you're still watching, brother, please feel free to post the info for the Lavish Biker Bash. So let me say this, guys. Let me say this. Likes and views are great, but they're not everything. And I'll just be transparent, because I don't have a problem being transparent. For me, I see a lot of other people who have been doing this, some longer and some not as long, and their likes and views are supersede mine by far. But however, Richard Gardner says he's got to go back to work. All right, man, you have a good day at work, brother. And we were talking about you the other day, so your ears were probably burning. I think it was yesterday or the day before. It was all good talk, so rest assured, you can rest easy. We were actually complimenting you, but we look forward to seeing you again soon, brother. Okay, some Lou's Deli. Sounds like a plan, man. Sounds like a plan. I literally just saw a video on yesterday about places not to go if you're not from Detroit. And so it was a very funny video, but I think the brother was extremely serious at the same time. So anyway, let me get back to what I was saying so I can get out of your way. There are some people who have been, and let me say this. For this content creator thing, I don't consider myself a content creator because when I hear the word content creator, I hear just that, someone who is creating content. And I'm not necessarily creating content. I'm just talking about life. I'm just, and when creating content, usually there is a motive, there is a stimuli, and you're doing it for a particular reason or outcome, so to speak, and even though I'm doing what I'm doing for a particular outcome as well, but ladies and gentlemen, there's the information for the Lavish Biker Bash, Detroit, Michigan. Check out his IG and Facebook page at Lavish T Williams. Okay, good dude right there, man. Make sure you guys check out his content. So you've got so anyway, let me reel it back in. I had to stop looking. I don't even look at my analytics. And I know that's probably not good. I probably need to pay a little bit more attention to it. Some days it's discouraging, and then other days it if I'm not careful, it's going to refocus me in a way that's not really authentic, if you will. And so I'm at a point now where, if this platform is going to grow, let it grow authentically, let it grow organically, and just let it do what it do. Because here's another problem that we run into sometimes, and I need somebody to hear me real good on this point right here. Sometimes we get what we want, but lose what we had. Sometimes we get the numbers, but the question is, were we really ready for that growth? The Bible talks about a people called the children of Israel. God promised them a land that flowed with milk and honey, the promised land. Now, the ironic thing is, as they went into the promised land, there were Hittites and Jebusites and all these other ites that were still in the land. However, this land was promised to them. But when you really do the study, the children of Israel were not ready. They did not have the wherewithal, if you will. They didn't have the infrastructure to take over the whole land. So God didn't give it to them in its entirety. He gave it to them in segments. And as they were more mature, if you want to say, or more ready, he would drive more of the ites out. Okay. And so when you do this research, you'll see that all the ites were driven out at different times. They were not driven out all at one time. My point is, they weren't ready for what was promised for them, and they were not ready for what was promised to them in its entirety. And so sometimes we get the numbers, but let's see, but what's the word I'm looking for? But as far as our integrity, and we were not ready for it on a level of integrity. Okay, let me break it down to you. Sometimes you get the numbers and you get the big head. Sometimes you get the numbers and you're persuaded by the numbers. Okay, and you drift away from your first love. The Bible says in the book of Revelations, I have somewhat against thee, because you have left your first love. Now, all of us who are doing this, we started because of the love of motorcycles or the love of motorcycling. I don't understand why some people try to gain clout off the downfall of someone else. I get that too, bro. I get that too, man. However, there is a difference between gaining clout and ensuring that our field remains, what's the word I'm looking for? Pure, if you will. Sometimes we must hold each other accountable. You know what I'm saying? And so what we're doing this morning is in no means an attempt to gain clout from another man's downfall. But what we are simply doing is stating that, in my opinion, I think he owes us some answers. You know what I'm saying? If it was me, you know what I'm saying, I would not look at you or anybody else sideways for requiring or even demanding an answer from me. You know what I'm saying? And so that's my take on it. But the phone line is open, and I know Moby is a good brother. And what I love about good brothers is, even if we are not in agreement 100% on a topic or situation, we can usually reason together and learn. Let me see here. So, Moby, if you wanted to call in, brother, and share your take, Moby is also a content creator. He is has a podcast. Do You Ride? And I'm trying to see where my stuff is at right here. Bada boom, bada bang. Ladies and gentlemen, saints and ain'ts, everybody, including Lottie Dottie. Where did she go? Where did she go? Where did she go? I just had it. There we go, right there. Bada boom, bada bang. All right, number scrolling at the bottom of the screen. And let me see here. Bada boom, bada bang. Let me go ahead and get the phone lines open. All right, that's not what I want. Let me do this. Bada boom, bada bang. All right, in the meantime and in between time, ladies and gentlemen, let me do this. I'm going to go ahead and replay this for those of you who are just now joining, just in case you're wondering what it is that we are talking about on this morning.
I have never, in the 35 years I've been associated with this club, have I ever spoken negatively about this club or anyone in it. So I have heard that the club is actually going to put out a real statement in a couple of days, and that statement will come from the national president, ride or die. Not a so-called thing full of crap and lies. And I'm going to hope that this club takes the high road and clears my name of the things that I didn't do. I'm ready for anything a mofo says that I did do that's the truth. But
Black Dragon, this what I got. This
no,
what I got.
I'm not finished. I'm not finished.
You're not.
Don't
Okay,
cut me
let's
off.
hear it. Let's hear it.
All
Let's
right.
hear it.
So I'm not ready to talk about this right now. I'm not ready to talk about it. When I am ready to talk about it, I will. I will talk about it when I'm ready. Not ready to talk about it. I want to wait around and see what their comment will be, their official comment. And I think that's what I want to do. There'll be plenty of time to talk about this and get into the weeds of it. But today is not the day for me.
It's not today. You don't want to talk about it. Now, I only mention that. Because this is a news reporting channel. And I know a lot of your viewers, you know, you're going to have some that like you. You're going to have some that don't like you. And people, they just want to know. But if you're not ready to open up and talk about it, hey, I mean, I can't force you.
I spend so much time talking about other motorcycle clubs and the dirt of the motorcycle clubs. This is absolutely turnabout being fair play. This is absolute karma. This is absolute all those things.
So with his own words, he says that this is fair play. Okay. He says that this is absolute karma as it relates to him being in the situation that he is in. So because he said that it is fair play, it's just that it's fair play. Here's a beautiful thing about social media, about the internet, the interweb or whatever. You know, it brings so much stuff to light. Let's please forgive me for trying to mesh this together. But police brutality has gone on for years. I mean, for years since Okay, let's see here. Bada boom, bada bang. Let me see what we got. See if we can get this thing to work here. Thank you for calling the Retro Philosophy Show. You're live on the air. Are you there? Let me see what we got here. Bear with me, caller. Hello? All right. Good. We got a little echo going on here. Let me see if I can sort that real quick. But go ahead, caller. State your name and where you're calling from.
What's going on, man? It's GQ.
Hey, GQ, what's
New
going on,
Orleans,
brother?
Louisiana.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. I find myself conflicted with this situation right here.
Okay.
I'm conflicted for a couple of different reasons. One, how does someone gain so much stature, so much notoriety, become such a public figure in a national club and for over 20 something years,
Mm-hmm.
and he's not vetted, or he quote unquote slept through the cracks, fell through the cracks. That right there doesn't sit well with me, because I know one thing, and this is coming from my experience being in motorcycle clubs,
Mm-hmm.
in fraternities, in different other organizations. When somebody comes in from another place, they're always vetted. Even when you talk, I've never been to jail, but I have family members who've been to jail and so on and so forth. Where's your paperwork?
Right.
What's going on with you? Like, they want to know who you are, where you come from, what did you do, so on and so forth. As big as my club is, you cannot tell me that if someone comes in that we don't know who this person is, or where did they come from, or who did they come up under. In my fraternity, in Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity
Mm-hmm.
Incorporated, we get people who claim to, or who perpetrate all the time, get found out immediately and vigilantly.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, how does someone, now if they come through and they stay off the radar and just, they come past me and just, they in, I can see that happening from time to time. Rarely, but I can see how that can happen. But for someone to rise to the rank of a national president, I'm just confused at that. One, okay. Two, if the beings or the higher ups in said motorcycle club knew this, why did they wait so long to say something about this? They knew the type of platform that this man had. They know what type of notoriety that he had. How could you let someone rise to those types of ranks?
Okay.
And allow it knowingly that they quote unquote that he came in through the back door or fell through the cracks. Something does not add up to me. Now, the third thing that is concerning is from Dragon's point of view. When I just watched the clip with Lavish, you don't want to talk about it, but me being the kind of person that I am, I will always defend my name vigilantly and vehemently against anybody saying what I did or what I did not do. There is no, and like Lavish said, that this fair game. Like, this is what it is.
Right.
You have to address this situation in multiple ways. But that got me to thinking. I personally believe that there may be things at play behind the scenes, whereas some type of deals may be happening or whatever the case may be, where if he says something too prematurely, that it could ruin something further on down the line for him.
I think that's
You know what I'm
exactly what it
saying?
is. That's why he said that, he wants to wait to see what they say. So then he can adjust and answer accordingly. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't want to show his hand too soon.
Right. So I think that is what that's what I think his angle is. So that's the three major takeaways that I have from this whole situation. Now, for all of the people, you should never rush to judgment. And I think that in the motorcycle set in general, people tend to rush to judgment way too quickly instead of just kind of watching certain situations play out. Because I've seen multiple posts in some of these Facebook groups where they're tearing the guy down. And once your reputation has been stained, the tarnish or whatever, it's very, very, very hard to come back from that. It's very, very hard to come back from that. And none of us are there. None of us are a part of this club. None of us know anything. I haven't personally seen any other traditional or normal or regular member of said club come out and say anything in defense or in prosecution of this person. I've seen that one clip of the guy, I think he's on the national level, said something or whatever, but it wasn't, it did not definitively, explain everything. You know what I mean? When you put out something like that, you gotta explain it to the T. When that letter, quote unquote, came out, I was like, anybody can doctor up some stuff, man. It's 2024. People can put. I'm a Photoshop whiz. I'm not saying that it was Photoshopped or nothing like that. It probably did came out or whatever.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is you got to be careful. We don't know what type of forces are at play behind the scenes. It may be some people who personally don't like the man at a higher up level and say, you know what, we're going to finish you off once and for all. And then they get together.
Very likely.
And collude and put this out to, tarnish this man's reputation. Because it happens. And a lot of times, when we talk about things at a national level, the people who are under it, the traditional and regular members, they really don't go against the national level.
Right.
They don't. They take orders and they keep moving. So who's to say, what's really happening? And my last and final point, for someone who has preached protocol, biker etiquette, so on and so forth, who has been instrumental in a lot of clubs either forming or giving them some type of information to get started or giving some type of information to conduct themselves on a set, there is a lot of good, quote unquote, that this man has done. Now, I'm not saying I'm for or against. I'm just saying that we should all let the situation play out and then give a, definitive opinion on it, But for someone who's done so much, and when I first got on the set, somebody, hey, get the Prospects Bible book, or they mention these books and things like that. And so, even though I never bought one, but I know people who did buy one,
right,
and found that it was helpful, And so for somebody to put out these types of literature, someone to speak at the procs and things like that, and show up to all of these different places, and all of a sudden that now though he's never been that don't sit well with me, because you can't perpetrate being in the military.
Right.
You can't perpetrate being, in some of these different organizations and stuff like that. You're going to be found out immediately.
Yeah.
So that is very, very, very weird that all of a sudden, after 20-something years, you talking about somebody who you get on the production of Biker Boyz and all this other kind of stuff, you know what I'm saying? I just find it very, 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 very odd. So I think personally, my personal opinion is that I think that there's other things that's at play. And I think that Dragon is waiting for certain things to be said or not said before, like you say, he shows his hand or his cause, but he don't have the time is ticking. The court of public opinion, that hourglass is running out on him. So he gotta, he may not be able to wait too long, but that is my opinion. And I'm gonna let you continue with the show. And I like to hear other people's thoughts and opinions as well. And I hope you're having a good day, Pastor.
Thanks, man. You as well. But before I let you go, the question: do you think he owes the MC community or the motorcycle community an answer?
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
Okay. Cool.
Yes, I do.
Very insightful.
Yes, because this is big. This is not, because like I said, he's put out literature that thousands of people have followed, and your credibility, quote unquote, is at stake. So if they're saying what you're saying, and you're talking about being a prospect, and somebody say that, or it was put out that he never prospected, he just came in from the West and all this other kind of stuff. That's weird. But I will say this.
Yeah.
I will say this. A few years ago, the founder, I had a chance to sit down and interview the founder of Black Sabbath Motorcycle Club.
Okay.
And at that interview, I called Dragon and told him what I was doing.
Okay.
And he was so elated, and we all talked on by speakerphone and stuff like that. We all talked together. So the founder of this club, obviously at that point, this was maybe like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I didn't see or sense anything that was out of the norm or anything with that. So I'm just like, They were both super excited to talk to each other. They couldn't believe that I was, that the founder knew that I knew Dragon and vice versa. So, but I'm really just waiting in the shadows to see how this thing works out.
Cool deal. Appreciate the call on GQ, man. And ladies and gentlemen, make sure you go over and check out GQ. He's all over the internet, man, making it do what it do. One of the baddest motorcycle vloggers in the land. So let's make some noise for GQ. Hold on, wait a minute. We got to do this right. Let's make some. There we go. Let's make some noise for the one and only GQ. Thank you, sir. Appreciate the phone call. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. GQ in the building. We're talking about the whole situation. Cinnamon says exactly, it's real fishy. I do remember one of the gentlemen stating that he never prospected for and what I gathered from that was and I could be wrong, but what I gathered from it was he was referencing the Atlanta chapter, and I don't see that being unheard of. Well, I shouldn't say unheard of. With being sometimes we rise to rank, and we rise to a certain status, and we think, and in many cases we do become above the law. And I don't think that it's right, because one of my pet peeves are double standards. If what's good for the goose is good for the gander, you know what I'm saying? So I don't see it. In other words, it's plausible that someone of such status can leave from the West Coast or wherever and come to another area and just, but then the question is, I don't know how it works for you guys, but if you leave one chapter, do you have to prospect for another chapter, or does it just transfer over? I'm not an MC, so I don't know the answer to that question. People start to stand up chapters all the time and never prospect. Okay. So I guess that would answer that question. Okay, so that makes sense. So at this point, ladies and gentlemen, waiting to see what is going to be the response from Mr. Black Dragon. And again, as I said earlier, and I'll reiterate it, we are not coming for anybody's neck. That's not the way we do things. However, questions are meant to be asked. And sometimes people take questions that are intimidating as though you're taking a stance of coming for my neck. And we've got to change the narrative on that. We got to stop making the people who ask the questions the bad guys, and instead the people who refuse to answer them the bad guys. We're not trying to make anybody the bad guys, but you understand what I'm saying. So, ladies and gentlemen, saints and ain'ts, everybody, including Lottie Dottie, it's your boy Retro with you on today. Number is scrolling at the bottom of the screen, 980-222-4492. The original question was, does Black Dragon owe the motorcycle community an answer? And once you in the club, you're in. You don't prospect twice. Okay, good deal. That part right there. All right. So with that said and done, how would he become national president without having prospect? But he's stated his own self that, he was a hang around for 5 years and prospected for another 5 years. So I mean, it is what it is. But for whatever reason, the other question that I have is he out bad? Or is he just out? And I'm curious as to what led up to that. But as one may say, it ain't none of your business. You know what I mean? Nah, we got you down, bro. We got you down. I'm up here trying to do all kind of things up here. So you know what I mean? But we got you down, bro. Again, appreciate the phone call. Ladies and gentlemen, saints and ain'ts, everybody, including Lottie Dottie. Again, the number is scrolling at the bottom of the screen, 980-222-4492. What say you? When we ask these kinds of questions, are we trying to come up on somebody's downfall? Or do we take downfalls and use them as teachable moments? There is the question. We have to learn from every experience in this thing called life, okay? And having a show like his that is built on protocol and biker news, and as he said, it's fair game. It's fair game. So just to recap, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll get out of your way. I mean, absolutely no disrespect. My phone line is always available, 980-222-4492. And I'll go as far as to give my cell phone. If you want to call me on my cell phone, you can do that as well. You can reach me here on Facebook, YouTube. I'm reachable. And if I owe anybody an apology, I'm not afraid of doing that either. But let's have a conversation. Okay. So if anything that was said on today's show made you or anyone who's watching feel offended or feel some kind of way, we can sit down and have a chit chat over the phone lines. We can have you on the show. We can do whatever's necessary because I assure you the reason behind what we do here is not to belittle or tear down anyone. However, if you are the problem, I believe it's better to sacrifice the problem than those who are being taken advantage of. That's all I'm saying. And when you think about the news, that's what the news is all about. That's why news reporters get a pass. Okay, you are not supposed to be able to silence or news reporters, because they're there to ensure that the truth is told. And if the truth is not obvious, then they've got to get to the bottom of it. Okay, and sometimes you can never get to the bottom of the truth until certain questions are asked. And if we never ask questions, then an answer just won't be given, And so I believe that we have to, as I said earlier, begin to hold each other accountable. And as we hold each other accountable, let's do it in a fair way. I think GQ said it well. Let's see how this thing plays out before we cast judgment. But casting judgment and requiring accountability is another thing. Okay. Sometimes you can be brought into questioning before you are charged for whatever the crime may be. Okay. And so let us not take a stance of not wanting to judge and make it a situation where we don't ask questions. How is it that a man can rise to national president and all this stuff and have not prospected? That does sound a little fishy. But I guess the only one who can answer that is Mr. Bunch and the powers that be that are, in position in the club that he is a part of. All right, ladies and gentlemen, saints and ain'ts, we're going to pick up this conversation tonight. Tonight is going to be, we're going to be talking about a few things, you know, who left who and who took my bike, you know. Make sure you tune in tonight. Special guest on the show tonight will be the one and only Big Cell. And we're going to talk about a few things, as I said, on tonight. Case in point, who got left and why. And again, don't get it twisted. We're not going there, and it's not going to be a messy show, but we're going to talk about some things that need to be talked about, and we're going to talk about it from a couple different perspectives. There are a lot of people who get out here and do certain things because they see other people do them, and they don't get a full understanding as to how it works or why it works the way that it works, and sometimes we get ourselves in a pickle. And then when we get in that pickle, we want to blame everybody, including Lottie, you know. And we got to realize that, you know, even though it may be, you know, if somebody might have inspired you, you got to understand that results may vary, okay? And I would tell my kids all the time growing up, and I'm going to tell you this morning, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate. So we've got to learn to negotiate, and you can't negotiate one thing and then when you get in a predicament, you now require it to go a different way. Well, we've already discussed it this way, and this was the, you know, this was the plan, or this was the, you know, the rules. And now that you're here, I mean, you know, you can't change it now. I mean, you know, we already, you know, and so we're going to talk about that in depth on tonight, as well as a few other things. So make sure you tune in tonight here on the Retro Philosophy Show, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And other than that, man, we out of here, man. God bless you. Heaven smile on you. And yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Pick it up on tonight, guys. It's your boy Retro, and we out of here.
Kingdom alignment on assignment for the king. Hope you're ready for the show. Thanks for tuning in. Let's go for a ride. Got my specs on my side.
I done said all I got to say.
No, I know.
A lot of people like to hold back, but I don't hold back nothing. I tell you just like it is.
Yo, what's up, everybody, including Lottie Dottie? It's your boy Retro with you on today. And I've got a public service announcement for you. Just because you do something that you see an OG do doesn't make you an OG. And just because you get on your motorcycle and you pound from here to there doesn't make you a ground pounder either. You'll never be what you ain't. But hey, like they say in the Army, be all you can be.
Hey now, this is the Mileage Bully, the Moto Mob CEO, home of the Moto Mob where legends are made. You are now tuned in to the Retro Philosophy Show. Like, share, and subscribe. You know what to do. Press play.
People who real now are endangered species. Nobody wants to be around them. People are afraid of them. Being a real nigga now, it's like you're an endangered species.
Whenever you got somebody that's living with a facade, they always see authenticity as a threat.
Danger, danger, danger!
It's when you know you're born for something. When you can walk out and don't care what people say, don't care what they do. You found what you've been looking for, and I'm dead on course now. That don't mean there's not ups and downs. That doesn't mean there's not disappointments. But what it does mean, you have found what you were born for. Yes, sir. And if you turn your back on what you're born for, then God begin to whip you until you get your act together, because he's not gonna let you go until you do what you're born to do. Yes,
ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's your man Kodak, the most hated, coming to you live from the Retro Philosophy Show, where I always listen to my man, 50 Grand, Pastor Retro. You know what it is.
Wake up, everybody, no more sleeping in bed. Wake up, everybody, no more sleeping in bed. Wake up, everybody, wake up.
Ladies and gentlemen, you already know what it is, man. It's your boy Retro, man. We've come to the end of the road here in Florida anyway. Key West, to be specific. That's the infamous buoy there. And 90 miles to Cuba. I wonder if I'll ever make it to Cuba. Maybe, maybe not. But Ruby Red has made it to the buoy. And we got to make some tracks. Got a lot of people to see while we're here in Florida, Miami, Tampa. You already know what it is, man. Collecting miles and smiles.